Dear respected Thai, our beloved and precious teacher, and dear beloved community, good morning. So today we are the 25th of June, the year 2019, and we are in Avalokita on the third day of our retreat, meditation and silence. I'm saying that for the recording. And like a ritual, Thai always mention the date where we are. It's very good. I don't know if you, probably many of you look at it every day, but when we go outside of where we put and remove our shoes, there is a little Buddha statue there, and next to it there is an hibiscus, and every day there is a new flower who comes out, and it's closed. And that's my sister, Sister Chan Dao, said, did you see, like, it goes and it opens, and it's like, when you have a firecracker so it's like the flower open, and then this beauty reveals itself. And so every day I've been looking at it from morning, each time I go in and out, and the flower transforms itself, and then by the end of the day it closes, and then another one will come up from another place. It's very beautiful, very beautiful. And in the garden we can see many trees, many flowers, little one, bigger one, and there is this beautiful tree with orange. So it's the fruit, and then the flowers are coming out on this direction. So it's a very wonderful time for us to contemplate the nature in this way. And one thing that I like to do and enjoy very much is when I walk by the road here or in Plum Village or anywhere. There is this high grass, and very often our attention is more drawn to the flowers and the color, but in fact these high grass are quite spectacular and so beautiful, because there is a very large variety of grass, this high grass, and often it's been cut. I mean, at least I know along our road, because they will grow otherwise very high, and then we cannot really see. But in fact, they are very beautiful. And it's always in the spring, beginning of summer, before it's cut, I already like to just walk and look at them. So beautiful. And another thing that I discover is the beauty of the bark of the trees. And each trees, wherever we go, different countries, are like... sometimes we go and we go to an art expo, or we buy a painting, millions of euro and dollars, and then here we go. If we look, and there is, when we were for a retreat, we spent the night at a friend's place, and she had a beautiful books of someone who made, a photographer who made like a picture of the bark of the tree, but he framed it in a way that you only see the bark, and it's like quite extraordinary. He traveled around the world and taking picture, incredible. And I know, just looking at the book now, I look at the bark of the trees with different eyes, with different eyes, and I see all around here. We can see it's so, and you just bring your eyes and you focus and see this beauty of Mother Earth. Yeah, so beautiful. So I enjoy doing that too. And last night, when we do the walking meditation, we could see to the clouds on the mountain changing color, and then they come, they form, they move, like that, like a dance. So beautiful, yeah. So, but all this, this is happening in us as well. So the nature is offering us, is helping us to understand ourselves. And then one thing which is good to practice with, and if you can practice this week, while we have this silent retreat, is to go in the nature and simply contemplate. Because our habit, energy, it's like that. Because this part of our brain is like making us categorize, compare, give a name, this and that and this and that. But maybe we go and we just simply contemplate. Simply. We don't need to give a name, it's okay at the moment. We simply contemplate and we breathe in. We just, we feel, we come to the feeling instead of in our head. Yeah. So it's very, I'm not saying that it's not useful to categorize and things like that, but it's good to have the contemplation aspect and to use a different part of our brain, and not always this. Yeah. Maybe we listen to a sound of the bell. So we are all here today for this retreat, and all of us are, and even Rita, who is preparing for that, we are all a member of the Order of Interbeing, monastic and lay, all together. And so when we took this vow of this vow, that's the vow of the Bodhisattva. It's a great vow. So we have a deep aspiration, and all of us, to have this very deep aspiration. And the Bodhisattva, body means awaken, and sattva, living beings. And so that's our deep wish to be an awakened being. And when Stefano shared, when we had the sharing the first morning, Stefano was saying, because we had in Plum Village, we had this business retreat, and the business retreatants who were there for this retreat, they're very passionate about their work. And so it's true, and I really enjoy what Stefano was sharing about that when you become, or I, and ourselves too, is we have this passion about the practice, I guess. We have this passion, passionate about the practice, and we wish to share it and to share it with our beloved one, people close to us, to go in the world, in school, prison, really engage outside, engage a lot. And I know Francesca yesterday, she went to teach meditation to the children. That's wonderful. So we want to engage, and we do. So we have a commitment to build Sangha. So, and it depends of our capacity. So we, some of us, we are more active. Some of us, it's different. So we have a different way of sharing the practice as well. But one thing is very important to do, and as you're in silence, you don't answer to me, but there is one very important thing for us to be able to do that, is to take care of ourselves first. And Thai is always saying, the way out is in. And so drawing this circle, and with the arrow coming in, this is really the most important thing. So when we come to a retreat like that, it's wonderful because it's a gift that we offer to ourselves, nourishing ourselves, renewing, and understanding ourselves more, being able to look at what's happening within ourselves. So it's a very wonderful opportunity, and that's why I'm very happy that we share this retreat together. And it's something that in our life, as monastic, as OI Dharma teacher, it's very important to give some time for ourselves to take a breath. Okay? Because we take a breath out, but we need to take a breath to breathe in. So we breathe in, recharging ourselves. And there is an example that Thai gives, which is very wonderful example, many different examples, but already you know this one. But when we take an airplane, what is the first thing that the people tell us? So is if there is any low pressure or whatever goes down, what do? They explain to us we have to put the oxygen mask on our face first. And if we're sitting next to a child, first we put it on ourselves and then on the child. And in this way we will survive. Otherwise we won't be able to help the child if we don't have. So it's like that that's why we have to take care of ourselves first. But for sure we have this deep heart of wanting to give. So it's to find this balance. When I need to really retreat, okay, I can give. Sometimes we may only go like that. And maybe it's to find this balance, because the practice is to take care of ourselves, but to offer. It goes like that. Let's nourish our joy too. So during this retreat, what I thought when I reflected, okay, what would be the theme I would like to give for this retreat? And the Six Paramita came to me. So and then because we had the first retreat, so I had to my mind was into the first retreat, and then I thought, okay, I think it's a good theme. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to study the Six Paramita together. I'm sure you know them, but it's always interesting to see together. So, and Thai calls them the 6 techniques for happiness. The 6 techniques for happiness. Our happiness, happiness of other people. And they are very concrete practices, very concrete. So, and what they are going to help us is to make a transition from our current agitation, suffering, and then what we call to the other shore, a shore of peace and joy. Mm. Yeah. So I will write the paramita. So the first one is it's Dāna, and I write with Dāna Pāramitā. It's in Sanskrit. And Dāna is generosity. It's giving of oneself. Huh? And the second one is Sīla Pāramitā. So it's a virtue, morality, discipline, trainings, proper conduct, all this. Third one, Kşānti, okay. An accent here, Pāramitā, and is patience. Tolerance, forbearance. Acceptance. Etc. Okay. And then the fourth one is Vīrya. It's with like that. Vīrya Pāramitā. And it's energy. Diligence. Vigour. We could say to zeal, effort, is name. And the fifth one is Dhyāna Pāramitā. So it's a one-pointed concentration. Contemplation. And then the sixth one, Prajña Pāramitā, which is wisdom, insight. We listen to a sound of the bell. So, Pāramitā, it means the translation of Pāramitā means from this shore, the shore of agitation, suffering, anger, despair, whatever. Then we go to the other shore, the shore of peace and the shore of freedom. And so there is a raft, which is that's the image that is given, like metaphor, which is given. So we go to the other shore, and we're going to build our raft and go to the other shore. And in each one of us, and I'm saying many of us, we have a deep longing for peace, for inner peace, very deep longing. That's what we're looking for. And I know myself in my own story. I lived before I became a nun. I lived in an ashram for 21 years. An ashram and we were very busy. We had meditation and asana, relaxation, but a lot of work. Was a Sheva service, was mainly our practice, was to serve, to give. And one point I felt that our teacher passed away, then my mother passed away, was quite things who were there, and then I lost the aspect of joy. The joy, I didn't have the deep joy. I had deep joy in sitting, or doing in the nature, but then in the daily life I was thinking, I don't feel, the joy is not present. And I felt a deep need for silence, deep need for sitting more and silence. And what's very interesting, last week we had a practice of beginning anew with Mother Earth. And the way we did it was like a guided meditation. And at the beginning of the guided meditation is it was like just visualize a place in your head where you like to sit in the nature, and you take refuge in. Just was the beginning. And so I just let it, and I was looking, this place, many places that I like to sit in. But then came into me the image, in fact, of the time when I was in the ashram, the time where this deep longing came very, very strongly in me of sitting. And the ashram the one I was at this time was in upstate New York, in the Catskills mountain, very beautiful place. Catskills are old mountain, they are very beautiful. And in the ashram there is a garden, and then down below near the forest there is a small pond with a little shrine with a statue of Durga, the mother, the one who knows a bit into tradition. It's a representation of the mother. And so you could sit inside this little shrine, and that's what I did. And I took refuge there as soon as I could, during the day, at night, in the morning, to sit there in silence and in sitting. And so this place came to me very strongly, and it took me by surprise. And so it brought back memories of this time. And what I remember is it was a time where I felt a deep need to do silent retreat, and it was not so much in our tradition, but was a Japanese monastery not too far from the ashram, and it was the 5th anniversary of my mother's death, so I kind of gave myself the permission to go. And what was very interesting is, so my ex-husband, we went to one day to visit, and I really felt it was in the beautiful place near a very big lake, the forest, the nature, beautiful. And then, so we said, okay, that's good. And so my ex-husband and the different people in the ashram say, it's okay, you can go. So I went for a retreat, and it was exactly during the week was the 5th anniversary of my mother's death. But the first evening, when the retreat started, then they came to tell me, oh, you have an urgent phone call. And was my ex-husband, my husband at this time, then who said, oh, because in the ashram we were, but like Stefano and Laetitia, we were directing the ashram, but we had sannyas there, some swami, like in the Hindu tradition, monks in the Hindu. And one of them had, he suffered from epilepsy. And then he had a crisis, a fit of epilepsy. And then then he called to tell me that, and I felt, oh no, I don't want to go back. I really need this retreat. And so I said, yeah, so what do we do? Shall I go back home? And I really felt in me being torn apart. And then, okay, so my ex-husband said, okay, I call you tomorrow morning, and I will let you know how it is. And so, and the next morning he called, and then I felt in me really the need to do that. But like the heart saying, oh, but yeah, but I need you at the ashram. And then the next morning, my ex-husband called and said, oh, everything is okay, he's better, no problem, you can stay and do your retreat. I was like, oh, thank you. And was really, yeah. And what I saw too, like, and I went for this several times a year, then I did this silent retreat. It became like a need to do that quite often. And I saw that I let go more and more of the responsibility of the ashram. And so it's happened like that. And now I'm here today. But it will be too long to say the whole story. But during the retreat and my time there, I could recognize inside of myself, and the speaking with the guide who was at the time with. And then I could see that secretly, and probably a lot of us have that, is to arrive at the shore of peace and freedom, and we leave everything else behind. So this is the shore of suffering, and I will arrive to a state where I will be, but we know it's not like that. We know that it's this shore and this shore. In fact, is they come together. But with our mindful breath, with our mindful steps, with the energy of mindfulness and the energy of concentration, with insight, then we know within our suffering, the joy, the deep joy, the peace can really help us to embrace this suffering and live with it, have the solidity to go through it. So like when we have to give a breath to Miriam. So it's, maybe we could listen to a sound of the bell, so I go myself. So it's a spiritual metaphor which is used. So for sure the practice is like a raft, a boat that we build day after days, like that. But at the same time, we have to really look that maybe, like I had in a corner of our heart and our mind, there is this, I will live this and I will arrive to a state of being that is free from suffering. But as human being, we will go through the pain, the physical body having pain, the pain of separation of our beloved one, the pain of a lot of pain, tragedy, and things like that is there. But how do we live it? So it's when we look at the shore, these two shores, and what I found that Thai gave us a great gift, because in August 2014, when Thai was getting very, very tired, then Thai rewrote the Heart Sutra. And he rewrote, that means he wrote like his way of his own deep understanding, and became the insight that brings us to the other shore. And I know when I read and we chant it and contemplating it, and it's the shore, and for me it's really the interbeing. It's really that, this suffering and happiness. And Thai many times told us, I will never want to send my children to a place where there is no suffering. And when Thai speak about the art of suffering, often we say, come on, Thai. I mean, and but that's the way out, is it to go through this and to build this. The joy is within, and in the other retreat I share, and because when I did the path of Saint Francis, I knew about the life of Saint Francis, but walking the pilgrimage, Saint Francis of Assisi, Saint Francis suffered a lot, physically, mentally, but he had this tremendous joy coming deep down inside of him, making him like the joy, because he was blind by the end of his life, and he died quite young, and but he had this deep joy, and this energy of joy, and a deep inner peace and love and compassion, like to this day. And if we look at the Buddha or we look at Thai, our teacher is this energy who makes it. The Buddha suffered. He lost his mother. He was a young baby, and he suffered through his life. Sometimes we think that great people, they don't suffer. They are like, because their story often is like, resume to, and we think, okay, like I'm going. Now they suffer, and because of their suffering, they have this tremendous energy, like Martin Luther King, Dr. King, and Gandhi, all these great beings, Mother Teresa, we could name that inspire us. They suffer, but they went, they had this, the two shore within them, this stability, solidity. So what is, we have to recognize ourselves, the way we were trained to the dualistic thinking. We think dualistic thinking. And this is something, if we do recognize that we think this and that, this is black, this is white, it's not the same. This is Sister Tindo, and this is me, and not the same. Or Sister Yuli, and this is me, not the same. You see, like this separation, this dualistic thinking, and to come to see Not the same, not different. And this is important too. Not the same, not different. And so the main thing in our life, and the main thing is the journey. The journey, you know, you go from one place to the other, and it is what is the most incredible thing. Is every step we make, our journey. You know, we like the journey, the traveling, the traveling. You know, you travel from one place to the other. Like we do the pilgrimage, we climb a mountain. Through our life we go. You know, and this is what is the most beautiful if we know how to do that. It's moment by moment, here and now. In the now, what life is presenting to me. So, and sometimes we have the image, okay, the spiritual path is like a ladder. Okay, I'm going to climb and climb and climb and climb. But no, because some days our body is tired, or we have headache, or we have pain, and then we didn't sleep, and then we have it's not so easy. Things we're more sensitive, and some days, wow, it's wonderful, and someone comes and tells us something, and then up, irritation comes. So it's really paying attention to this very moment, what is happening in me, around me. So it's really an exploration of whatever present in itself to us, whatever present itself to you in this very moment. So with our emotion, our thought. So often we want to get rid of, we want to avoid, or we want to change. I want to be a better person. I want to be a good practitioner, a model, you know. And so we put that, we may put that on ourselves. And but if we do, okay, I want to change. Okay, if I speak to myself, Sister Dao Nghiem, why are you getting angry? You're not a good practitioner. You need to change. And what does that mean? It means maybe I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. And during our business retreat, we had in my group of Dharma sharing was a businessman. And he, during one of the Dharma talk, it was shared, you know, Thayer wrote this calligraphy, you have enough, you have enough, you have enough. So if we look at everything we have here, we have enough to be happy, but we still at certain moment feel unhappy. So and this man, then he had a click, he had an insight, he said, oh, I am enough. You know, it was because he was pushing himself to work, try to give, and every time during the Dharma talk, he was always writing. Even during the Dharma sharing, he was always writing. Like very trying, asking questions, very in the doing. Try to understand, and then he touched. What I felt, it touched the inner child in him that told, you're not enough. You have to do more. And he felt, oh, I am enough. And he kind of completely opened to him, opened his heart to embrace himself. It was very beautiful. There was a man, very beautiful. So we start with what we have, where we are at. So with the body we have, with the mind that we have, and with, okay, I start, and we start our journey. That's where I start from. And like when you do hiking with backpack, like often there is this example, people, they go for a pilgrimage, for example, Saint-Jacques de Compostelle, I don't know you say in English, yeah. And then many people go for this pilgrimage, and now the pilgrimage on the footsteps of St. Francis, and then, you may put a lot in your backpack. You see, like ourselves with my daughter, we were thinking we would camp, so we had the tent and some material, and then, the backpack become heavy. But sometimes we have a lot, we carry a lot, and it's like that in our life. We carry a lot, and can I let go? And people often, and he said, especially many people do the Saint-Jacques de Compostelle, and so they start with heavy backpack, and then as it goes, they let go. And like with my daughter, we were looking, okay, what can we let go? We didn't have too many things. We used to do that, but I remember the first time it was something we don't need. So I don't need certain things. So I make our backpack lighter. So is to see that. So we start with what we have. So maybe my backpack is heavy, my luggage are heavy, and then I look, okay, and I start. So maybe this, maybe I don't need that. Okay, maybe it's one little thing. We had a tube for this pilgrimage. We have because it was something necessary to bring. Like myself, I know some of our brown clothes, they are quite heavy, and especially we have our Sangati robe, the yellow robe, and we have in our precept body, we need to always to carry it with us when we sleep overnight someplace. That means I had to carry it, but it's a big piece of material and it's quite heavy. Normally when we are bhikshuni, fully ordained, we have 3 of this yellow robe. But fortunately we can bring only 1, but still it's heavy. And then our robe is heavy, so we can have, I had some light clothes, but I still had to have some brown robe for the evening, or knowing that I will meet my brother on the so we have, and they were heavy in the bag, but I had to carry. But I accepted this bag. But so we were looking, and we had a small tube of mosquito repellent, a small tube. But it was very cold in May, so it was no mosquito. So we let it go. It was a small thing. So like that. Like that in our life. So we start, okay, maybe a small things, and then we look. Maybe we listen to a bell so Miriam can take a breath. And I can take a breath too. So we explore with joy and curiosity whatever comes to us, pleasant, unpleasant emotions. And then we train with the paramita. So it's a training. We train. And so, but this training has to be constant, unwavering, like with steadfastness, like you, okay, I do it daily, I train daily, train. And through, when we are high, when we are low, through what is pleasant, unpleasant, we train, we keep going. With generosity towards ourselves, towards others, through the virtue, discipline, patience, with energy, with contemplation, concentration, insight, and this. And we will go more in detail for each one of them. And what's going to give to us? What will give this training will give to us? It will give us an amazing capacity to go more and more into difficult situations. And that's our vow of a bodhisattva. It's like we will have an amazing capacity which will build up. And then we will see that we will encounter a difficult situation, but we will be able to go through it. And go through it, not pushing away. Oh, this I don't want, it's too difficult. But just go through it with tenderness, gentleness. And Thai, when he said, no separate self-entities. You see? And in the chant, he said, like, ill-being, the causes of ill-being, the end of ill-being, the path, insight, and attainment are not separate self-entities. That's mean they are, the ill-being is with, with the causes and insight, attainment. It's not this and that. And this very beautiful with, the other shore. So we explore our body, we explore our mind, here and now. And yesterday when we did this exercise of slow walking meditation, I did, and then I walk, and I walk, you go up behind there, little like that, and then I turn right, and there is this beautiful tree. There is two trees not too far away. They have the trunk, kind of like interlaced like that. So beautiful. But next to it, and I didn't see it yet, was just I saw it. It's a rock, and what's written on it? It's now. It's now. And often we are not in the now. We are in the there and here and there. But it's now. Now. Where am I now? Now. So there is a beautiful analogy which is given to us, and probably many of you know it, but it's very nice. I read it again during preparing for my talk, and I thought, oh, this is good. It's the analogy of the leather on the ground. The leather, that like some shoes are made from. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like we walking through our days, barefoot. Yeah, it's wonderful. We are barefoot, and the grass is soft. But then we walk and we go in the wood. This wood there, and it's a lot of thorn and stones, and then we walk and we keep going barefoot, and then our feet start hurting and bleeding, and it's very painful, very, very painful. And so, and it hurts all the time, like it hurts. And so we think, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cover the whole ground with leather. Everywhere I walk, it will be covered with leather. It's a beautiful analogy. It's absurd, But in fact, that's what we do when we encounter someone who tells us something, or a difficult situation, or a difficult person, or something in us. We say, oh, that's their problem. This is the problem, you know. Mm-hmm. We say, these people, they are not good enough. I'm not good enough. So it's like we cover with leather. Mm-hmm. We want to get rid of the threat. So it's like if I cover everything, I will not have a problem. And we can see. You see, I was living in upstate New York when in 2001, when it was a terrorist attack, and it's something that we can see, you know, like all these years after, you know, that the fear and it's their problem, and then we close in more and more, and separation. You see, like whether the color of the skin of people, you know, gives a lot of fear. After the attack, was like we had a friend from India, from Iran, and thing, and they suffer a lot. The way people look at them, the fear, and we can see that. I know in France it's like that. So it's this. I want to get rid. Instead of looking, what is the difficulty there? What's happening? And if we do continue that way, and we can see it did continue that way, then the fear escalated. It's with a fear. We will have more and more fear of people. And we will more and more until, maybe we live completely alone, but still maybe we will be upset with the ants or the mosquito and things like that. So it's something to recognize that in fact is the only way out is in, but what we need to work with, it's our mind. We need to work with our mind. It's not to put leather, but it's to, wear a pair of shoes, my dear. Put a pair of shoes on instead of, you're disturbing me, go away. No, I put shoes on, and it's to work on my mind, to see what's happening in my mind. So it's that's a beautiful analogy. It's look, listen to it. But one thing which is very important is to recognize our own capacity. Our capacity, where we are at, where our limits. And there is this beautiful example, if you take a vase or a glass, maybe or a vase, a very thin, and I think you have that in Italy, very thin glass. And then you put, so the vase has a certain capacity to hold, a certain amount of water, or you could even put sand or stone. But then if we put more and more and more and more, and we push it down, what's going to happen? The vase will break because it's too much. It went beyond its capacity. So the practice is to to have a recognize. That's why it's now where I am at, where I am, and each moment is different. So where I am. If I go beyond, I may break. Sometimes we need to, we are at the edge. But sometimes we are too much in the zone of comfort. And sometimes we go too much beyond our limit and capacity. So and this we will share about tomorrow. We will share more about Kşānti. The Kşānti and the Vīrya will be the two we will start tomorrow, hopefully. And this patience to relax with. And we have this practice of the two wings, And I like this glass behind here in front of me, because last week I spoke. For me, it represents interbeing, and it's so beautiful. But what it does too, if you look especially from outside, it's like it's two wings. That's the way two wings. And so the two wings of the bird need two wings to fly. And it's samatha and vipassana. So these two aspects to relax and to inquire and the insight, they go together. And this past week was a neuroscience retreat in Plum Village. And I don't know if you know him, but there is Peter Levin was invited. And Peter Levin is someone who works with trauma since many, many years, with traumatic event. And he wrote many books and gives many conferences. And I look at his work and heard some conference. It's fascinating what he discovered, the way he worked. But one little thing that he shared, and it goes with the breath. You breathe out, you relax. You breathe in, you open. Breathe out, relax. But often what we do is we breathe in or breathe out, but we can, I breathe out, I relax. But often is when we open too much. It's like the cooker, and then you open and it's too much. So what he said is like, if you recognize that it was something difficult, or there is a trauma. He works especially with big trauma, but it can be little trauma, or sometimes, we have an irritation, or we feel that we are tense. So it's too tense, but not, but just a little bit, and then relax, and a little bit more, and relax a little bit more, and a little bit more, and relax more. And I've been playing with that, I feel a tension in my shoulders, so I do, okay. Instead of like tensing, and then relaxing like that, but more, just a little bit. And a little, and it's like you feel a release. And it's, so anyway, it's very interesting, the work, but there is many other things. And it's just one little thing that So, and that's why too it goes when we practice and we share, we say, so we're going, something happened to us, a difficult situation. So we breathe, and what helps us is to observe, to take some distance to observe it, which we need to do that, and to be calm, to relax with it. And then as we go in the practice, as we become more solid, and the joy is within us, the solidity, then we can go through it. We go through it, through our suffering. But we need to be ready for it. If we're not ready, then we will be... But here, like in this retreat, we have the support of the collective energy, which for some of us, we may have some thing that we see that we want to open to, and then we can take this opportunity, okay, I allow myself to go through it. So with this, it's like that, and I allow to see where does it come from, this deep suffering. And so when we do that, we enter to it, we go through it, so we become one with it. So we are, instead of saying with our dualistic thinking, this is this side, and this is this side, and I prefer this side. So I can work with this suffering here. It's okay, but there is this other one there which is calling. Am I ready for this one? So we can see, let it come, and to really understand. And in the 4 establishments of mindfulness, the Buddha speaks about the body in the body, the feelings in the feelings, the mind in the mind, so that we go through it. That's why we want to understand someone, then we have to try to put ourselves in their shoes. We want to understand the flowers. We have to really look deep into it. So, and we do it with, so to understand from inside. So it's not intellectual understanding, but it's understanding from inside. So now, I know that you're probably at the limit of your capacity of listening. We will listen to a sound of the bell, and then I'm going to give you a little homework, and then write the question for the day. So the little homework for the body. So how do I wake up? How do I wake up? I wake up, what do my body do when I wake up? It's just observe it. How is the body when I wake up? What do I do? And how do I get out of bed? What is my way of getting out of bed? Some of us, we may go like this, stretch our arms, or do a relaxation, or we jump out, or we tense. I will just observe the body. And then, as I shared yesterday, like to observe the movement of the body, especially when we sit, we move a chair, when we open door, close door. You see the sound of the movement of our body, the sound of our footsteps. So sometimes we may want to kind of be noisy, what we could call noisy, but to make sound, to observe. Just observe. You see, what is very nice here is like we have different, we have the grass, we have the stone, we have the little stone. So it makes different stone when we, different sound when we walk on it. So, and then we can recognize when our mind is busy, our body has a tendency to be busy, our body is busy too. If our mind is busy, our body is busy. And when our body is busy, it's noisy often. We move things more we do things a bit more noisily, with noise, when our mind is busy. So please see to the mind of judging ourselves. Very important. Please, really do it with tenderness, with a smile, with humor. oh, okay, it's okay. And I'm not behind you to look after you. So it's like really, it's just a journey of discovery and exploration. Okay. So now I'm going to write the question for the mind. This was the homework for the body. So please write them down with the translation, so you will have already the translation. Okay.
It was a question, the last one, you said?
A question.
Era una domanda, un esercizio da fare. Era l'ultimo? Sì.
Yeah, the last one is just to with tenderness. So, like sometime when I ask you to observe yourself. When our mind is busy, our body is busy too. And when our mind busy, body busy, then we do things. We are not really in awareness, and we're more in forgetfulness, and we have a tendency to do things noisily. So I want us, you to observe, but with tenderness. I'm not behind you to say, oh, Birgitta, you did noise and you didn't practice properly and blind. No, nobody is here but to see ourselves, judging ourselves. And now please, it's okay, we smile, humor. Yeah. Yeah. And then the thing, this too is, I know you're living several in a room or when we work too, to see the habit energy of wanting to speak too. So we try to practice silence and take a few breaths before, if we feel, I would like to share this about the work. And then see, do I really need to? And so if we do need, just see to reduce the amount of word. Otherwise we get into conversation and then, so it's to try to observe ourselves. So the question, try with a green pen maybe if it works. So you write them on your little notebook. And this afternoon, please bring your notebook when, after the sitting, walking, we will have an exercise about that. So, what are your favorite? That means your frequent, your favorite. Favorite, that means it comes often. Positive. Daydreams. What are your favorite positive daydreams? What is my positive? What is my frequent positive daydream? Where I like to. Okay, daydream. Okay, second one. What is your favorite suffering? Or what is my favorite suffering? We can go like that. What is my favorite suffering? Or complain, Think like that. But can be, complaining or fear or whatever it is. Something is there. My favorite suffering. 3, what is your mind drawn to again and again? So what is my mind? We can say more. You speak to yourself. What is my mind? So, what has become the inclination of my mind? What has become, the tendency of my mind. My mind, always has this tendency. What has become and then the fifth one, there is six, so we're almost there. Are you happy with this inclination? Are you happy with this tendency of our mind to go? Are we happy with it? If we're happy, great. No, it's not what it's. Am I happy? We can say, am I happy with this inclination? And six. So, what helps me to let go of the daydreams? And or my favorite suffering, and return to the present moment. We lose ourselves in our daydream, and we lose ourselves in our suffering. So what helps me to go back to the present moment? What helps me to let go of the daydream and or my favorite suffering and return to the present moment? So you bring your little notebooks this afternoon, and I will explain briefly after the sitting and the walking, like we did yesterday. I will explain to you briefly what we will do, because I feel now it's too much. If I explain to you, it's too much. So I will do that a bit this afternoon. I think we will finish here with this morning. Thank you for your patience. So tomorrow, the three Dharma talk, normally that's what I'm planning. I don't know if it will be like that, to go to the Six Paramita and look at them in detail. And so tomorrow we will try to go through patience, Kşānti, and Vīrya, diligence, and study, continue our study.